Pushing our luck?
No such thing. I can have 7 of these in one day. Good turn, Bill.
Spiritual worshippers of all things. So when it comes to physical fitness and martial arts, unfortunately our society is drawn towards evil people, evil politicians, evil celebrities, evil display of the martial arts. Whereas spiritual people, like the time of Jesus, are locked up, massacred, slandered. You see, Neo, there's the real world that we live in, there's the false world that you live in. This is the world as it exists today. These are the people on top, these are the people on bottom. How your actions dictate, or your lack of willing to serve the system and be the system and breathe the system. It is time to master the art of being the spiritual outcast and to be proud of it. To be proud to be an outsider of a society that's proud of genocide, proud of war, proud of murder, proud of prison, proud of themselves, projecting onto others. This, Neo, is the world as it exists today. A world that hates men, a world that hates God, a world that hates truth, A world that loves everything false. And so this is a test from God, just to endure life here under such harsh conditions. Where even amongst nature, you will still find the matrix. Wherever there's a cell phone, wherever there's social media, wherever people are living off the bones of the dying world, as Terence McKenna said, wherever you see these behaviors that are actually going against nature, wherever you see these things dominant, you will continue to see problems in society regardless of the religion, the race, or the region of the earth. We've been taken far away from nature on a global scale, and seemingly only in a massive solar flare disrupting the global grid can take us home. Until that day happens, we will continue to race forward at 144 miles an hour into the machine, into the matrix, as Pink Floyd warned us about. People have forgotten about that. The warnings from the 1970s. THX 1138 came out in the 1970s. Now they think all this stuff is a conspiracy, but smart men and women in the 1970s and 1980s who still read books, they were able to, those that sometimes came from the hippie generation or 1967, they were able to perceive certain things about the future that modern journalists and modern humans are less perceptive. Another thing I like to do is punch into the sun or towards the sun. So you gotta squint your eyes for that. There is the Native American tradition of shooting the arrow into the sun. And of course the Aurora Borealis being indicative to the Navajo, as I've been saying, without being Navajo, that those are souls going in and out of the earth through sex and war when the sun is active. Through sex and war, when the sun is active, there are souls rushing, slamming in and out of the earth of our planet. That's what I talk about. That's what's happening now with these wars and these sacrifices that are happening on social media. They're unnecessary, and they're serving a dark agenda that most humans will never understand, not even when they get to the afterlife. But that's what's going on here. Needless bloodletting that has become industrialized, just like chickens being led to slaughter. It's actually being done to real life human beings. The Terminator movie is real, folks, and we're living in it. And the warning signs are there. They've always been there. I've never gone camping and seen anybody working out. Never seen camping, never went camping, never seen anybody podcast. Never seen a group of people doing martial arts. It's like we talk about we're not even living our full potential in our return to nature. It's actually a deep conversation. Writing, reading, prayer, meditation, martial arts, fasting, all these things and more go along with going off grid and getting away from indulgence. The all-you-can-eat and all-you-can-watch buffet of the new digital era, as Terence McKenna said, living off the bones of the dying world. And I'm going to go back to listening to Terence McKenna. I'm going to go back to listening to Manly P. Hall, a little bit of Anthony Hilder and Jordan Maxwell. The point is that even though these men are no longer with us, their spirit lives on, and ironically is a lot stronger than a lot of the humans right now on the world stage. Now think about that. Think about how a spirit or a soul can actually become stronger after departing the human body. And the humans on the world stage being so soulless in some cases that they have very low voltage to the point where they actually can't resist mind control, external influence, or the archonic interference. In fact, they become it. That's what we've seen from Alex Jones. That's what we've seen from Red Ice Creations and Gary Franchi and a whole lot of people that seem to be awake after the year 2000. And moving into 2001, 2002, we saw an upward trajectory. Then we hit this moment after 2012 where there was this lingering confusion. What do we do now? And then even I was on, YouTube saying, well, what is the Liberty movement going to do once you realize that Ron Paul is not going to win in 2012? What's going to happen to your movement? I was asking the right questions, but they fell on deaf ears. What happened to the movement was it crashed just like and went down the buildings of 9/11. It went in on itself also by design with the help of Alex Jones. They destroyed the resistance to this with pinpoint accuracy. 2014 and 2015, 2016. We were only on the internet for, a couple of years. Documentaries were starting to get out. People were starting to ask questions about all these things. And then, boom, the false Islamic invasion psychosis began. And some people haven't even begun to pick up the pieces and just figured out what's going on here. And now we're seeing the deep fakes rise. Deep fakes, videos that aren't even real, of people doing things as I predicted. And so this is happening. And unfortunately, there's kids that are seeing these deep fakes. They can go ahead and have, a nice neighborhood like this to grow up in. But if they're sitting there in their private little world, being hypnotized, then they're being set up to be a stormtrooper for Darth Vader for the day that's coming. So you have to prepare. You have to build a resistance movement. And we are a long ways away from the psychology needed to manifest that in the modern world and be actually inclusive and not just use it as some sort of a, marketing plan. It actually makes sense to do cardio and workouts and talk at the same time. It's not typical. Never seen a martial artist do it. I've never seen a bodybuilder or a martial artist speak eloquently about anything. Never seen them talk about solar flares. It's just a lot of grunting and strutting, basically. A lot of manipulation. Great video today, starting the day with the sun rising, and then taking it in, and then taking time to go through some stuff, and then realizing that when they stole my stuff here, right over here, where a van's parked, where my stuff was stolen a couple weeks ago, my passwords are gone, this book I'll move on from it and learn from the mistake. But that is another spiritual attack, that I would come here, be spiritual, and then a crackhead trailer would show up, and then BLM came and took everything. And I had to drive from here to Penrose and go through a dumpster. Now I want to know, was that me personally being targeted, or are other people having their stuff just thrown away? They've had a tent there, so that was just not great luck, and it happened when Tweakerville showed up. So you have a lot of women here in this region who will prefer to be with a straight up drug addict, white supremacist tweaker, while treating somebody else who's nice like he's a threat. Different state, same issue. Okay, with this allergy to spirituality and people that are psychic, and people that actually look down upon people with cats. The supremacy, dog supremacy ideology is out of control here. I've never seen anybody with a cat. So yeah, man, I'm not into groupthink. I'm a rebel. I'm different, and I'm proud to be different. Okay, there's no spirituality and standardization of race, color, eye color, animal, model of car, food that you eat. There is no ascension in standardization in becoming a follower. And that's what our people have forgotten, from my mom to my father to, my uncle who died last year without saying goodbye. The elders are gone, folks, and we're left with people in charge that have no morality. God help us all.